everybody, I am going to be sharing with you a quick card I created. I am obsessed with these altenew stamps. This is the Beautiful Day stamp set, and I am using some Bristol Smooth cardstock and some clean Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers to create my card. And like I said, I am obsessed with this stamp set. I'm definitely going to have to buy more. This is my first one, and I just am so in love with the flowers. And recently I discovered the Zig markers, and I am also in love with them. I honestly don't really have any idea what I'm doing, but I love coloring them and coloring the images and using the markers on the Bristol cardstock. I tried using it on watercolor paper, and it just doesn't, it's not the same at all. So anyways, enough rambling. So I start off by taking some of the Bristol Smooth paper, and I take the outline flower from the stamp set, and I use some Versamark and stamp it onto the Bristol paper. And then I put embossing powder, and then I use the super fine embossing powder, and I'll have links down below to all the products I use. And I use my heat tool to heat set that, or melt it I should say, and then this creates a nice little barrier and kind of cheat way for me to color my images. I'm not very good at coloring, so this helps me stay in the lines and create a nice colored image. I do not know exactly what I'm doing when I'm coloring, but I do have fun, and the cardstock and the markers, I feel them combined make it easy for a beginner to kind of play around. Of course, I do have more learning to do with the coloring, and but it is fun and I enjoy it. Because I'm a beginner, I do want to say that I am just sharing what works for me. And like I said, I do have a lot of learning to do when coloring with these markers. But how I do it is I take the marker, and this is Persian green, and I outline where I think the shadow would be. And then I take my watercolor brush and just kind of blend it out. Then if I feel I need to, I take a paper towel, or you can use a rag or whatever you have. Even a baby wipe might work. I don't know. It might be a little bit too wet. But anyway, so I just dab kind of in the center, and then it takes a little bit of that color up. It also absorbs some of that water because this is not watercolor paper, so you don't want to get it too wet. So it helps bring up a little bit of that water. I am just using the one color to do all of my coloring. I could use 2 colors or even 3 colors, but it's easiest for me just to stick to one color for now until I am able to play around a little bit more and learn a little bit more on how to use these markers. Before I got these markers, I have tried watercolor pencils, I've tried alcohol markers, almost everything out there, and I was just not happy with the results. But when I wanted to get into more card making again, I realized that the watercolor and coloring was a trend in the card making, and it kind of terrified me. But when I saw people using these markers, I just splurged and bought them, and I'm so happy that I did. I was really hoping that I would not regret my decision, because I am so picky in what I want to buy and what I actually do buy. I don't like to buy things and then have them sit there forever and not use them. Okay, so again, enough with the rambling. I end up coloring 2 of the flowers, and basically the same way. And then I use a little bit of gray. I think it's light gray, and for the centers of the flowers, and also these leaves. So I emboss the leaves. This is the outline of the flowers. So these flowers are meant to do layering. So there's 3 or 4 different layers you can stamp on top of each other to create really nice images. I am loving coloring these flowers and these leaves, so that's why I have done it a couple times already. And again, these are the outline stamps to the flowers and leaves. So here I have some scrap flowers and leaves that I was practicing coloring on, and I didn't like how they turned out, so I just cut them out and using them as masks to create my design on this card. I wanted some images in the back, but I didn't want them to stand out too much because I wanted the flowers to be the main focal point. So I'm using, again, Versamark, and then I will emboss them with white embossing powder, the same super fine embossing powder. And you can see I'm just going to take them off and then add the embossing powder and then melt the embossing powder. To pop up my flowers, I'm using some foam, kids foam that I find at Walmart. I find it's cheap and it's really light and it doesn't weigh down my cards. I a lot of times use recycled cardboard, but I find that it's really heavy, especially on cards. So I change it up to the foam because it's pretty cheap and again, it's light and perfect for cards. So I'm just trying to decide exactly where I want all of my flowers and my leaves. And you could see here I'm just kind of playing around. And I do add 2 layers of the foam to one flower and then just 1 layer to the other flower. That way one sits a little bit higher than the other one, and it just creates more interest and kind of depth to your project or your card. I am planning on doing a art journal page with these flowers. I just cannot help myself and use these flowers. I need to get my hands on more of these flowers because they're just so gorgeous. So you will see here that I ended up adding a few more leaves, and then I add my sentiment here, and that completes my card. I do add a few little splatters here and there, but that is basically it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I always try to get back to you as soon as I can. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And I will catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.